All right, beautiful, my friend. So I appreciate you being here and taking the time during your day to just chat markets and chat trading and chat life. To tell everyone a little bit about yourself, man. What's your name? Where do you live? And how long have you been trading?
Yes, ciao Jeremy. Andrea Unger here. Ciao is Italian greeting, so I'm from Italy.
That's
I live
right.
in Italy. I live in the center of Italy. It's just at the level of Rome, but it's on the opposite coast of Italy. So nice weather, but for today, because it's raining, nice food, and everything is nice here. You should move to Italy, actually, definitely.
Man, at some point, I've never been to Italy, but it's very high on my list.
This is very bad.
Yeah.
I will stop the call here.
It's going to happen, though, I promise. It is definitely on my list, my man. It is
Immediately
absolutely on my
book
list.
your flights.
That's right. So you lived in Italy your whole life?
Yes-ish. Actually, I was born in Germany, but I
Hmm.
moved to Italy when I was a baby, about 10 months old. So it's actually, it's likely I was born here. And I grew up in Milan. And in 2004, I moved down to the center where I live now.
Gotcha. So what market do you trade? Do you trade the Italian market or the U.S. market?
I am a trader, yes, which is because I'm here. I trade mostly US and European markets. I don't trade any more Italian markets
Mm,
for a number of reasons. But let's say that trading futures, which I do, I have enough variety out there, and I try to trade the most important markets. And in Europe, the most important index future is the DAX, Germany.
yeah.
So trading DAX and the Italian FTS, well, I call it FIB, an old name, is not a really good choice because most often you end up being on strongly correlated positions. So there is no diversification in this.
Right. Right. And with your trading, what broker do you use right now to access the markets over there?
I mostly use interactive brokers.
Okay. Beautiful.
Interactive brokers allows me to trade an enormous number of markets
Right.
and also the Italian markets. On the other side, I am an automated trader, and I will tell you something more about this. And all my real-time data come from an external provider, which is, I can say it, IQ Feed. They don't provide Italian markets. So if I traded Italian futures, I had to use the feed from Interactive Brokers itself, which is not the best feed in the world, I must admit.
Right.
So this is another reason why I don't trade the Italian markets. But on the other side, I do trade the Hang Seng future, and the Hang Seng future is not even in the products list of the IQ feed, but I trade it with data coming from CQG because I also have some accounts at ADM, the States, and they offer their real-time quotes through CQG technology.
Yep. I got it. And that's really interesting about your automated trading. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to reach out to you because I don't think I've had the opportunity to interview that many automated traders. How did that process kind of start for you?
The process starts in the moment I was trading discretionary. I was tall, blonde, blue eyes, nice looking, and then I ended up in a terrible way because of stress. Now I'm like the guy you can see on the pictures of my website, which is far from that image. And I decided I had to do something which was more accommodating in terms of stress.
Mm-hmm.
And that is automated trading. The real advantage now, apart from kidding, the real advantage in automated trading is that I do not have to make any decision during the trading activity. Everything has been decided in advance when I build my trading systems, my strategies. So once trading is going, I just click and they go, and every decision is inside the, call it robot, call it strategy, call it script, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And everything is already there. So I don't have to make up my mind about situations. But maybe for very special cases where things go crazy for some reason, I might decide to switch everything off. But generally speaking, I don't have to make decisions during the open markets. And considering that everything is done by a machine, I obviously have a greater opportunity to trade more markets and with far less mistakes. Because I still remember when I was younger, it was about in 2004 maybe, I used to trade Italian stocks as well. And I did that manually, of course, at that time. And I remember I placed an order on an Italian stock, San Paolo IMI, a bank. I wanted to send an order for 10,000 shares. I sent the order, and immediately, in the very moment I was executed, I saw the price of this stock jumping up. Mm-hmm. And I thought, oh, I'm so good, I'm great. Look, I really got the very moment it was jumping, it was skyrocketing. I'm a great trader. Then it stopped, and I didn't understand really why did the move stop all of a sudden. And then I realized that I did not send an order for 10,000 pieces, but I sent an order for 100,000 pieces. I was the one eating up all the offers up there.
Wow.
And I moved the stock actually up for a bit. And I was terrified in that moment because I realized that if for some reason the stock fell down, I would lose a fortune. So I started liquidating the position slowly. I did manage it. I didn't lose a lot of money there. But I realized that that kind of mistake would not have been done if the quantity was set by a computer, unless, of course, I made mistakes in programming. But this is something that we should not consider because we always double or triple check if the scripts are fine.
So tell me about that. Do you have any experience in programming, or how did you learn to build your bot or your script or your system?
I'm a mechanical engineer. I have a Master of Science in Engineering, so I'm not a programmer. I spent some time in learning the basics of programming. Consider that I graduated back in 1990, so many of the languages available today for programming were not there. I did something on Fortran, if you remember that. Mm-hmm. So I'm not really a specialist, and I still see today that I'm really not good in programming when I look at special, well-known languages in programming such as C# or coming to trading the MQL from MetaTrader. I don't understand them. I mean, it would take ages for me to program, but I even don't want to let anybody else program my strategies. So I started learning easy language, the language of TradeStation, and well, you can understand it from the name. Maybe you know it yourself. It's pretty easy. It's not complicated. It has some basic logics of programming for sure, but it's very, very simple to learn, especially considering that I just need a machine to place trades I want to be placed. I don't need to program the ultimate robot for saving the world. So it's not a NASA project. It's just something that needs to work.
Right.
And this is something I learned in a pretty easy way. Maybe I struggled 1 week to learn the logics, the basic logic, but then I was able to program my strategies. Obviously, today, after several years of practice, I became better and better. Of course, that's normal because everybody tries to improve. But the basics are really easy to learn. So I use TradeStation to program, and now I use Multicharts, which has the very same language, but for some keywords, but it's in practice is the same. It's called Power Language. And that's all I do. I program off intraday charts, 5-minute charts sometimes, or 15 minutes, which does not mean I am a high-frequency trader or things like that, because the smaller time frame is something I use only to have a better reading of the moves in the chart. But I don't program strategies that trade too often. Sometimes positions last for 4 or 5 hours. But normally they last for the whole day or even 4 or 5 days. So actually it's something quiet.
I see.
In my opinion.
I see. So you're trading, you said mention kind of intraday. Do you have any tickers or companies that you will not trade, or will you kind of trade anything if it's based on your system?
My approach allows me to trade anything. Better said, my approach means the way I develop trading systems. But I do develop many kind of trading systems. I mean, trend following, counter trend, bias, swing trading. I program a lot of stuff, and I, I try to find the best match between the model and the underlying. Every single market, in my opinion, and numbers tell me that I'm not that wrong, every single market have a specific behavior. For example, the mean S&P 500 is typically mean reverting. Okay, so obviously I don't spend too much time in trying to find an incredible trend following strategy on the E-mini. I simply I simply build some counter trend strategies on that market. And on crude oil, for example, I'm developing trend following because it works much better. And so there is no specific market unless it is an illiquid market. I don't like markets where I am moving the market or where I risk to get a very bad execution because nobody is there to buy or to sell the contracts I want.
Gotcha. So you mentioned
An example
contracts.
which became better lately but has been dramatic for ages is orange juice future. Okay, orange juice is a very nice market because it's a fascinating market. Also in the movies they talk about it, but it is not really a liquid. So if you go and trade that market, and if you do it maybe with more than one single contract, you get in trouble in getting good fills. And this is not something I like.
Right.
So I try to be on markets where I find a counterparty to get executed.
I see. Okay. So you're mostly only trading futures then at that point. Is that correct?
Yes, even though my method can work also on stocks, for example.
Right.
But trading index futures sort of covers the stock market because I try to look always for a proper diversification. And trading 10 or 100 stocks is not something that really diversifies your portfolio. When you are in the stock market, when everything goes up, they go up. When everything falls, they go down. So it's better to diversify in completely different sectors, like indexes, currencies, commodities, metals, whatever you need.
Right.
And not on stocks. So I prefer to build strategies on main index futures and to forget about the single stocks.
Do you ever do any credit spreads or do you sell options against it, or are you just mostly directional?
No, I don't mix these strategies on futures with options, but I also have some trading on options that's going on. We here in Italy, we partner with a company. We recently partnered. I mean, it's because I'm part of the Unger Academy, and as an Unger Academy, we partner with another company in Italy, Algorithmic, and in this company we found a guy who is a specialist in options trading. So together we discussed about an opportunity to deliver some education on options, and when he showed me what he was doing, I liked that, and I'm trading that myself now. Apart from putting it into an educational program, I took the strategies and I'm trading them myself. This is another way to diversify. I noticed year after year that the best diversification, in my opinion, is what I call a horizontal diversification. So it's a models diversification. So it's not really across markets, which is one way to go, but also about approaches. And my hit and run strategies on futures is one thing. Trading volatility, for example, is another thing. Trading options is another way again. So I get, in this case, I mentioned 3, but I have also 4, which is rotational investment strategies on stocks, which is completely different, but it's more like investing, but it's still there. These are all completely different approaches to the market. And to get the day where all these go wrong is difficult.
Correct.
Very bad day, of course, but it would be hard to get a killer in in one single period, let's say. So that's the best, in my opinion, way to really mix up your portfolio to be protected about any kind of, or most of kinds of risks.
Yeah, which is those are some very interesting terms. I've never heard the term horizontal diversification before. I think that's really interesting. So as you're kind of going through this and making these approaches, how many positions do you find yourself in at max at any one given time? Do you have an amount, or is there a minimum or a maximum, daily, weekly, anything like that in your rules in your system?
I can have many positions. I basically, if we talk only about trading systems, for example, I have about 200 trading systems, but they don't trade all together. Every month, I have a proprietary software which is looking into the performance of these systems and giving me the list of the systems to trade for the next month, each with the quantities based on a money management algorithm that I put into the model that looks into this. So I happen to have, for example, 40 live strategies, and these 40 strategies work with from 1 to 6 contracts in average. So, I mean, I don't say that I have 200 open positions, but I can have at least 50, for example, just and simply on the futures markets where I trade with. In addition to that, you can add some option strategies where I can have open positions, and normally a portfolio of stocks, which is fixed there. Every month, I have 10 stocks on the NASDAQ 100. Each of them has a 10% of the account, and they sit there and stay there.
Gotcha.
And these are the ones occupying most of the mornings anyway, because if you look at margins, only with the futures, I checked that I don't exceed normally 1/3 of my account balance.
Okay.
Because of my risk control,
Right.
I try to position size every single system in a very conservative way. I don't want to get killed by a bad day, of course. So I never work on margins. Just looking at margins, I noticed that I don't normally occupy more than 1/3. So I would have plenty of extra free space to use in theory, which I don't because of risk.
Yeah, makes sense. Andrea, so in this example, as you're kind of going through and talking about these positions, do you ever watch your trades as they're going through and manually exit, or do you literally set it up and you automate it and you're not there in front of the computer at all, and you kind of come back later in the day to view your carnage?
Yes, I can. I don't, but I can. The stocks investment is something I do manually, but it's once a month, so it's not a big deal. And options, I do trade manually. I have strategies. Also, in that case, orders are placed very seldom. But the futures, the strategies are completely automated. I have everything set up on a cloud server, so I protect against the shortage of power or internet supply and so on. And they work 24 hours a day, completely automated. Obviously, I'm always connected to this server. I observe everything is fine, if there are no problems. But in theory, I could just go for a walk. I did do it. I went jogging today, and I was trading in the same moment. Sometimes I travel around the world, so when I'm sitting on a flight, systems are still working. But obviously, I have a look on that. Also because sometimes when you look at the moves in the market, you get ideas to build new systems. So I'm passionate about this. So I try to get new ideas, and I like to observe what is going on in the markets, just to get new stuff if I need that.
Yeah, I totally understand. Do you ever trade from your phone, or no? Is that a no-no for you?
I trade my own money. And I can trade the money of my company, which is just for investing purposes.
Right.
The only way to, let's say, follow my trades, if that is another way to place the question, is through some programs I run at the World Cup Advisor, where they have this possibility to, let's say, mirror trade the trades of one of the leaders. And There are programs there which can be followed. But apart from that, I don't manage any foreign money, especially because I'm not allowed to do that. In Italy, it's not easy to do so.
Sure. So how long at this point have you been trading in total?
I went on my own in 2001. It's a while now. It's about 20 years.
Yeah.
I started before that in a very easy way, and it was about 97, I believe, where I started being interested in the markets. Let's say I started buying some shares because somebody told me that, and I lost money, of course. And it was losing money, but I felt bad. I said, I cannot be that stupid. Come on. There are people out there making money. How is that possible? So I started studying. I realized that you need to study hard, but if you study hard, you have some chance. Mm-hmm. That's why I'm still here, probably.
So when you say study hard, what does that really entail exactly?
It means that, first of all, you have to forget about the idea of getting rich tomorrow. Which is most often used in the educational industry as a promotion. This is totally wrong and deadly wrong for two reasons. First, because it's impossible. Second, because it is completely misleading. It puts your focus on money to be greedy about, and not on the passion you could find in trading and figuring out the markets, which is it's a starting point. You need to like what you do, because you have to pass through good times, but also bad times. And only if you love what you do, you can pass through those bad times. It's like if you have an argument with your wife, well, tomorrow it's over because you love your wife, and tomorrow you are happy again. If you don't love your wife at the first argument, you go on your own way. So that's the same way. I don't obviously compare my wife to the markets, just to express the concept.
Sure.
And I have my own Unger Academy where I teach how I build trading systems. And also in that case, I get approached by many people hoping to crack the money code. And I realized that the only message that I have to pass, listen, I can teach you what I do, but you have to be committed in learning that, and you cannot learn that in 1 or 2 days. You have to work hard to absorb all the concepts. You have to work hard to start digesting what the moves in the markets are and how they cope with the rules you put in your trading systems. It's not difficult to build a trading system. It's difficult to understand if this system can make money tomorrow, and if it doesn't make money, if it's just for a day or two, or if the system is dead. All these things come from experience. And experience is playing around with systems, combining rules, trying to read what the answers in terms of performance report from a market are. What if I change this kind of exit, for example? What if I add this condition to my entries? I compare the results of the different hypotheses, and comparing these results, I try to understand if there is some logic in the markets to lead to these results. All these things need time. This is what you have to study. You have to sit down, play around with your systems, try to interpret the results that they get, and trying to figure out what is going on out there, looking at these results. And you have to play around really a lot. It's like if you were a cook, your cooking recipes, you might play with the ingredients, change them, taste your food, and based on the taste of the different results, you might change what you put in there, trying to understand what is better. The same thing is for trading systems.
I love it. And
the difference is you don't get fed with trading systems.
Which is absolutely true. And there's so many questions I could ask you as well, just about like your health routine and your keeping yourself in shape, because you're in very good shape. But talk to me about the world trading champion. What is that like? Like when you go and actually participate, what are you doing? How big is it? How many people are there? Because I'm on your website now.
You are Sort of crazy. I took part of a championships. I started first in a championship here in Europe, a European championship in 2005. It was trading might also be boring. I mean, you are thrilled by developing and seeing results, but when the strategies run day after day, you get bored. So a championship is a way to get some extra adrenaline, and also to measure: am I really good? I make money, but am I really good? Am I better than others? So you participate to the contest, which must be a real money contest, because the demo accounts contests are nothing but give you any real result.
Totally,
I mean, you need to put your money in there. And I won that championship here in Europe in 2005 on futures.
Yep.
So I then decided to take part to the World Cup Trading Championships, the one which Larry Williams won in 1987, what it was. And that was a great experience, actually, because that's a different championship. Its duration is 12 months. 12 months is a very long time. It's a short time when you have to build performance. It's very long when you have to sit during that journey and to wait to the end and to compare your performance to the others. It's something which leads to an enormous level of stress.
Right.
So my first participation was in 2008, and I won with a very good performance there, 672%, which I turned the $15,000 account into nearly $120,000 account in 1 year. But that was thanks to the incredible volatility of 2008.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's not something I'm accustomed to. And I also made money on my personal large account.
Right.
But not to that extent, of course.
Right.
Because the risk control you have in your personal account, the main account, is completely different from the risk parameters you use in a contest.
Correct.
Where you have to push hard to get the best results. When I won that contest, I was happy, of course. And I remember I read the interview of Michael Cook. Mr. Cook won the 2007 contest. And during the year, he released an interview where he said that he wanted to try to win the contest 3 years in a row, because nobody ever did that. So I read that, and when I won, I said to my wife, "Oh, look, darling, this guy says this and this and this. What about I won now? Now I'm one of the winners, one of the many winners. What if I tried this thing to win 3 years in a row?" She said, "You are completely crazy." She knew the stress I had, but if you want to do it, try. I tried and I did it. I won also 2009 and 2010. And that is sort of a proof that my approach was likely to work, because 1 year you can be lucky. 2 years, maybe you are very lucky, but 3 years is something where luck is a minor player, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And 3 completely different years.
Yeah, 2008, 2009, and 2010, man. That's incredible.
Yeah. And then in 2012, we went through a very bad experience of the bankruptcy of the broker, PFG Best, where we lost money and so on. And in the latter part of the year, they decided to run a new contest, to start again, a quarterly contest in 2012. And they asked me to participate, just to show that everybody was alive and kicking. I had decided to stop participating to contests just because of stress, but I accepted that invitation, and I won again in 2012. So I won 4 times so far. Then I retired, definitely. It's an experience that teaches you to cope with stress, of course, but also the most important thing that I took away, in my opinion, is the capacity to react to changing markets. Because in the contest, you have your strategies, and you have 12 months to achieve the results, the best results possible. So whatever you put on the table, you must be sure that it is successful, and it is successful nearly immediately, because you don't have much time. So when things go wrong, you have to find a solution. You have to understand if they are likely to go wrong for the next months, or if they are likely to change, or if you better use some other mix of strategies because of any reason. But you have to make your decisions. You have to analyze the situation and to make a decision. And this is something that I took away from the contest because I learned how to, let's say, take a pick of the markets and try to identify what is necessary to do. And this is something that was incredibly useful also for my standard activity, just to decide how to react to bad moments, if a reaction is necessary or if not, all these things. There is no magical thing in there, but it's just something that teaches you how to stay in touch, strongly in touch with the ongoing markets and so on.
Yeah. Man, it's an incredible accomplishment, and I'm very happy that you were able to achieve that, because that's something that's I think a prize that a lot of people don't know it exists, but also don't know how to enter. So how does one go about trying to compete?
A lot of people, after I won, said, "Oh, I also wanted to win that championship. Did you participate?" No, I didn't. It's a difficult step, obviously, to win without participating.
That is a fact. Yep.
And but now I have many students who ask me how to participate. Mm-hmm. And, well, it's not that difficult. You have just to go to the World Cup Training Championships website and to register. There is an account to open with one of the brokers they recommend, because all the transactions during the year are audited in the end of the contest. So only some authorized brokers can participate. That's to avoid any kind of cheating or whatever, I don't know.
Right.
And the commissions that are for the contest, I can tell you, are pretty high. So it's not a great deal. That's why it's more for amusement than others.
Understand.
I believe that these guys keep high commissions with a relatively small amount, because $10,000, which is required today, is not a large account to trade futures. Because they try to find talents who are able to trade with small accounts and under heavy conditions of commissions. Mm-hmm. Because these could be the trading advisors of their other programs tomorrow. Because if they prove to be good in that, they can become a good advisor for those who want to become their followers.
I see. That's that definitely is interesting, and I appreciate you sharing that information with us. What's one last piece of information that you would suggest for someone who is new to trading and they have an account of under, let's say, $20,000? What would be their most likely expectations and steps to proceed?
Expectations in trading are similar to everybody. Of course, if you have $10 million, it's different if you have $10,000. But two things. You have to decide if you want to be an automated trader or a discretionary trader. Uh-huh. The difference is not easy to understand if you don't know anything about trading. But I can tell you that if you go out there and you try to learn one of the two trading styles, it's much easier to learn automated trading, because most of the discretionary trading mentors, if they are for real, because many are also actually just some scams, of course, but if they are real, most often they have their own talent, and that talent is not easy to transmit, while automated trading is easier. It's also a reason why I chose it. It's more regular to learn. There is nothing related to specific talent in there. You are a regular player in the markets, and you can build your own rules, put it into there. Of course, you need experience, but it's easier to learn better. That said, I'm still convinced, and this is something I said on different occasions, that the best discretionary trader in the world will always beat the best systematic trader in the world in terms of performance. But we're talking about the best. Of course, everybody wants to be the best, but everybody has to consider that most likely he will not become the best, the overall best. So this is the Google Assistant who starts talking sometimes. Sorry.
No worries.
Again, I would suggest that if you approach trading, you have a look at the possibility to become an automated trader. That said, $20,000 are, in my opinion, the minimum amount you need to dedicate to trading to become an automated trader. Because you have also to consider you will have, of course, on one side, costs for education. Whatever you decide to learn, you will pay for this education, which is an immediate cost, but is a good investment. See it as an investment because whatever you save today on education, you will pay tomorrow in mistakes. That is for sure. I made it myself. I know that.
Yep.
And I'm an educator as well, so I it's sort of trying to promote myself. But I can tell you, it's the truth. If you don't look for some good education, you will pay that and more money in mistakes. You can avoid at least. Education will not assure you to make money, but it will save you a lot of money.
Correct.
This is true
Yeah.
for discretionary or for automated. But for automated, you have to consider also you have to pay for some infrastructure, a good software,
Yep.
and of course a good cloud server to host your platform and so on. This is extra money, which can go from $100 to $500 a month, and with 20,000, it's very very limited.
Do you have any?
Sorry. Yes, please tell me.
Do you have any opinions on trade ideas?
Oh, what? Sorry.
Have you heard of trade ideas?
No, sincerely not.
Okay, yeah. So trade ideas, they're creating they work with interactive brokers and they partner with them, but they're pretty much an automated platform that allows you to build scans and create automated trading through interactive brokers. I just didn't know if you had any insight or knowledge into them.
No, sincerely speaking, no, I don't know them.
Yep, no worries.
I also, on my part, in the Unger Academy where I teach, I try to teach people how to build their own stuff, and I don't deliver my stuff. Of course, they get some systems inside the programs I run, but I recommend them to be in hold of whatever they do, because if they build it, they know how to drive the car. If not, it's dangerous. I put myself on a Ferrari Formula One, I will create some damage for sure.
Me and you both, man.
Probably,
you
yes.
both. Yep.
So in any case, you have to consider now, if you still have a small amount of money, let's say 15, 20,000, then the problem is also what markets can I trade? Mm-hmm. So you either go on the Forex markets where it's not because of a leverage, but because of a scalability. You can trade as small as you need there. It's a possibility, but normally there are many, let's say, hidden costs in these markets. So today, I would really recommend to have a look at the micro futures. They started not long ago, but they are not bad. Micro S&P is a great market to trade. There is liquidity, and it's I don't say a simple market to develop on, but it's a market that it does not require enormous skills to build some trading systems. So, and there are other micro futures as well. You could have a look at micro gold, for example, which is out there for a longer time. Don't consider mini gold. Mini gold is not liquid. Micro gold or micro S&P, and these are good markets to trade. So actually, you can trade them with small money. And also thinking about the platform, I don't want to promote here TradeStation, but TradeStation offers some very good deals.
Sure.
If you open an account.
They really do.
And you can save some money on data and technology. So, I mean, there are possibilities to look after if you want to build yourself. And then going on, you can get better and better. The bad news for many of you listening to this talk is that the expectations in terms of performance are not what you probably think about, because I think that one of the best systematic traders can be happy with something around 35% a year as an average. There are years with 100, 200%, but there are also years where you lose money. And this is more or less true everywhere. I mean, this is for automated trading where I have more experience, but also another kind of trading. You probably have to aim for returns in that kind of size.
Yep.
If you think about the 100 to 100% maybe a week, well, you are definitely wrong. It's better you buy ticket of a lottery, you have more chance.
Yeah, no, man, I love that. You're absolutely correct. I think you're spot on because you're right. I mean, it's a long-term game. A lot of us see, like you mentioned, the scams online, and we're like, oh man, I could make $100,000 tomorrow with this one system. Yeah, let me do that. And it's just like, listen, guys, it's not realistic. It can happen mathematically. I'm not saying it won't, but you're gonna have to put in time, a lot of time, before you're gonna know when to scale in or when to play something big with size. But it is a long-term game, and as you heard it here first, friends, it's all about risk management.
Absolutely. And that's also the reason why I said you have to be passionate about that, because it
Yeah.
takes time.
Yep.
If you don't like it, you quit.
Yep. Bingo. You're spot on, man. Andrea, this was an honor, man. I really appreciate your time, your energy, your devotion. So thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for connecting with me.
Thank you, Jeremy, for inviting me.
Yeah, man, you're so welcome. You really are. This has been an absolute privilege. So thank you. Have a great rest of your night over there in Italy. And I wish you the best luck in the markets in 2020, man.
Thanks. And again, ciao from Italy. Ciao to all people listening to this.
Yes, sir. Ciao. Take care.